and welcome back to my channel. Now, match day 2 of the Premier League was, it started off as a hit because I knew some of the predictions that I gave in my last video. For those who didn't watch, you can obviously go back and watch it. I just knew that Manchester United would lose that game. But let's just go straight right into it. Now, of course, the weekend started off on Saturday with Brighton hosting Manchester United. And again, it was a disappointing game for Manchester United. And just as their first game, where they somehow, quote and unquote, won that game. But this time around, they were meeting a more organized team, a tougher team, Brighton team, and they do know how to handle Manchester United for some weird reason. They lost the game 2-1. And of course, the first person who got the goal for Brighton was Welbeck, who scored one of their goals in the last game. And then Dalot equalized for Manchester United in the second half, and unfortunately, they lost the game with Pedro. Pedro getting the second goal for Brighton. Yao Pedro getting the second goal for Brighton, and it still begs a lot of question as to what Erik ten Hag is still doing with the team. I still don't know. The likes of Mason Mount are still not picked up form. I understand that yes, a lot of the period last season, Mason Mount had injury, but the other players are also not picking up. They are not playing as much as you would expect them to. It's quite a disappointing one for Manchester United, losing that game. And then the other games that started up for 3 p.m. kickoff was West Ham, winning their game, beating Crystal Palace at home 2-0. We also have Leicester City losing their second game, Fulham beating them 2-1, and we have Manchester City obviously beating Ipswich Town. I knew they were obviously going to defeat Ipswich Town, and Erling Haaland obviously got his 7th hat-trick in the Premier League. In that game, scoring a hat-trick. He scored the first goal, the first goal, the third goal, and the last goal. Of course, any Haaland knows how to get the goals. I'm not surprised. And if it's against a team that obviously doesn't know how to defend, that is exactly what happens. And that was exactly what they did. Man City won all 3 points and they moved to the top of the table. Also, another team that won their game is Nottingham Forest, beating Southampton at home. That was quite interesting. Tottenham, as I said, I knew they were going to defeat Everton 4-0. Come on. I wasn't surprised. They are playing at Tottenham Stadium. They are playing at home. The fear is obviously going to be there for Everton. And they've also not been playing well. They're at the bottom of the table at the moment, so it's no big surprise. Aston Villa and Arsenal for me was one of the big games of the bunch that I knew was going to be a difficult one for Arsenal. And I expected them to win, and they did. It was a 2-0 win for them. The surprising part, however, was Lisandro Trossard coming up from the bench to score the first goal. And he's been a goal machine for them because each time he comes off from the substitute or from the bench, he always scores. And I still don't understand why Arteta is still finding it difficult to start him in games. But you know what? If it's working for him to start off the bench and then get goals, why not? If something is working for you, don't change it. And that is exactly what Arteta did in that game. And they were able to break the jinx of last season, losing both home and away to Aston Villa. This time around, they won their game 2-0. And then to Sunday, Bournemouth played out a 1-1 draw against Newcastle. And the shocker of the weekend for me was Chelsea defeating Wolves 6-2. It's a shocker because home and away last season, it was a draw against the same side for Chelsea. And then for some reason, they were just able to pick up the pace in the second half. Exactly what happened in their midweek game for the UEFA Europa Conference League qualifier. They picked up the pace in the second half. It was a better, game for them. And I think one of the changes that the coach made was obviously taking Mudryk off and bringing on Pedro Neto, who was obviously Wolves' former player. He just joined Chelsea earlier this month. But seeing him come on and put up that sort of performance, having an assist against the newly signed João Felix, it was an amazing game. But watching that game, it was exciting from the very beginning to the end. In the first half, it was 2-2 draw. Nicolas Jackson scoring the fastest goal in the Premier League for Chelsea since 2017. It was an amazing one for him. And then Cole Palmer, well, I don't know what to say about that guy. He's spectacular. He is spectacular, getting assisting the first goal for Nicolas Jackson, and then going on to assist Noni Madueke, who scored an hat-trick, 3 goals in the second half in almost 14 minutes. That was amazing. And it's so funny that before that match kickoff, Noni Madueke had posted some funny thing, and each time he got the ball in the game, Wolves fans kept booing him. And it was so painful for him to score an hat-trick against them. It was an amazing match. And of course, to end the weekend was Liverpool defeating Brentford. Now, I'm not surprised. I expected them to win. And for Ansel Slot, it's a good record that he now has 2 wins, in the first 2 games, and he wins both of them. And I think it's a record that previous coaches have not been able to achieve. But he has been able to, break that record of winning 2 successive games, the start of the season. So it's a good one for Ansel. And I think that is just, as I said, the players know each other. So there's not much work for Ansel Slot to do with that side. They know what is expected of them to do, when they meet sides like Brentford and, all those tougher sides as they seem, to some other big sides. But that's the Premier League match day 2. And then, of course, we head over to La Liga, where Real Madrid won their game. But you know what? Let's start off on Friday. And some of the games that started off on Friday was Sevilla obviously losing at home to Villarreal. Losing 2-1 to Villarreal was a disappointing one. Well, I still think that they still have a lot of work to do anyway, so I'm not even surprised. But you're playing at home and then losing 2-1 to Villarreal, that was a disappointing one. And of course, Celta Vigo beating Valencia 3-1. Wow. I am surprised with that one. Then Osasuna defeating Mallorca 1-0. We also have Barcelona obviously winning 2-1. Robert Lewandowski getting the second goal, and the most important goal, of course, Lamine Yamal getting the first goal. It was a good one for them. So I did expect them to win the game anyways, but I felt it would probably be like maybe 3-1 or 3-0 or something. But 2-1, at the end of the day, they got the 3 points, and that's what's more important. And then Real Sociedad defeated Espanyol 1-0. We have Getafe also playing out a goalless draw against Rayo Vallecano. And then on Sunday, Real Madrid played out a 3-0 win against Real Valladolid. Now, Endrick getting his first goal also for Real Madrid, coming off as substitute. It was a good one, and I think he's a young kid. He's just 18. Getting his goal against, maybe a not so tough side, but it doesn't matter anyways. As long as you've gotten your goal, that is what is being paid for. He's a young boy, playing in Bernabeu, playing at home. You have the crowd around you, urging you on, and he gets a goal. That's a very good one. And second time, the Valverde is getting another goal in the start of the season. So I think it's a good one for him. And then Leganes obviously defeating Las Palmas 2-1. We have Deportivo Alves also playing out a goalless draw against Real Betis, and Atletico Madrid defeating Girona 3-0. And Griezmann, of course, has been one of the best players, I think, in the last 2-3 seasons. Also got to go Llorente, and then Koke getting the third goal for the Spanish side. And then in Serie, some of the games that happened over the weekend, started off on Saturday with AC Milan losing to Parma. I don't know. I'm surprised that they're losing 2-1. I am surprised that they actually lost 2-1. They drew their first game, now they lost their second game. I don't know what to expect from them from their next game. But hopefully something has to be done, because you would expect that the Pulisic did get their goal, however, but I don't know what's happening with Tomori, for them to concede goals. They've considered, I think, 4 goals now in 2 games. That's a lot. That is actually a lot. But let's move on to the other results. Udinese obviously winning 2-1 against Lazio. Inter Milan winning 2-0 against Lecce. Yeah, 2-0 against Lecce, and then Monza obviously losing at home to Girona, and then on Sunday it was some of the results were Fiorentina playing out a goalless draw against Venezia, Torino defeating Atalanta 2-1. I don't think Ademola Lookman also played in that game, but it's a disappointing one for them anyways. Napoli winning 3-0 against Bologna, and Roma losing their match against Empoli, losing 2-1. I want to believe it's still the start of the season anyway. So a lot of all those big teams that you would expect them to perform are still maybe trying to get their feet or something. But it's still the second game. There are still a lot of games to go. The likes of Roma losing. Well, they had a up and down season last season. So I don't want to believe that is going to be the case again this season. But let's see how that goes. And then to Ligue 1, that also had their match day 2 this weekend. Some of the games that were played over the weekend includes some of the results actually. Starting off on Friday was Paris Saint-Germain defeating Montpellier 6-0. Okay, so I think that the fact that Mbappe left that side, he just gave a lot of people the chance to score a lot of goals, because I knew that the fact that Mbappe was still in that side, they were restricted to making sure that he scored a lot of goals. And now that he's not there, a lot of people are scoring goals. And so it's a good one for the team, because it makes it easier for the coach to say, you know what, you have these goal scoring chances, take them as much as you can. And that is exactly what they are doing. Now, Lyon obviously lost their match to Monaco 2-0. Lille also won their match against Angers at home 2-0. And on Sunday, Marseille played out a 2-2 draw against Rennes. We have Nice, who also played out a 1-1 draw against Toulouse. Nantes played out a 2-0 win against Osre, and Lens defeating Brent 2-0. And to Bundesliga, where I think some of the games were quite interesting to see for match day 1, was obviously Bayern Leverkusen starting off with a win. Winning their first game, winning 3-0 against 3-2, sorry, beating Borussia Mönchengladbach 3-2 was a very interesting one to see, because, well, I know they are starting off the season, and it will take a bit of time for them to get back into the rhythm of last season, but they've won the game anyway, so they will move on from there. Xavi Alonso knows what to do with that team. And then Husberg playing out a 2-2 draw against Werder Bremen. Stuttgart losing their game to Freiburg 3-1. That was quite disappointing. Hoffenheim playing out a 3-2 win against Austin Klein. We also have Union Berlin playing out a 1-1 draw against Mainz. Bochum losing to RB Leipzig 1-0. Borussia Dortmund winning 2-0 against Eintracht Frankfurt. And on Sunday, it was a 3-2 win again for Bayern Munich against Wolfsburg, and 2-0 win for Heidenheim against St. Pauli. Now, St. Pauli is one of the new teams that were promoted to Bundesliga. So, well, I still think that they're also still going to get relegated anyways, but it's still the start of the season. But those are some of the games for this weekend, and I think it's quite interesting to see how some of the teams in the Premier League will play off, as the weeks roll by. But it's a good one that the Bundesliga has officially started, and I'm looking forward to more games. Now, some of the games that I obviously predicted in the Premier League, I, I think I'm a genius when it comes to this prediction thing, but you can obviously stay tuned to my channel to get more predictions for the match day 3 weekend if you want to bet and win money. So, anyways, I think that's a much for today, Monday, until the weekend, or when I come your way again on Friday, when we'll obviously be doing a preview of some of the games for match day 3 for Premier League, La Liga, Serie, Ligue, and match day 2 for Bundesliga. But it's your girl again. And before I go, I would love for you guys to also share your thoughts on some of the games, some of the results, what you expected, and turn on your post notification button for when the latest video drops. Don't forget to subscribe, share with your friends, let them know that there's someone here who loves sports as much as you do. Anyways, until I come your way again, bye for now.